Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around, Find Out. In today's episode, it's going to be a little bit of a mix of a hodgepodge with a deep dive into one core concept today on crafting and monster looting. First things first, I'm going to go over something that I can't remember if I've ever talked about. I think it was maybe my first hodgepodge episode. I talked about YouTubers that I think everybody should check out. And I can't remember if I talked about the Dungeon Coach. I've been kind of keeping up with him lately. He's been doing a lot of live streams. He's coming up with his own game, DC20. And I think because he's not beholden to previous editions, I think he is really taking on 5th edition and making what I think Wizards of the Coast wishes they could do for this upcoming D&D 5.5, 6th edition, something like that. That's probably a whole nother conversation on just the state of D&D and the new system coming out. Apparently it's backwards compatible, but the brief browsing I've done on the play test packets that they've got coming out, it's like, in my opinion, not a different game, but understand how it can be backwards compatible. You can't necessarily say two player characters are identical. They've got different abilities that trigger at different times. But without going down the rabbit hole, which I slowly am here, 5th edition is their most popular edition. You name the reasons: COVID, Critical Role, who knows? But they can't really change the game to, if you know D&D, they really can't experiment with like a 4th edition. Now they can, but they're going to risk alienating all of their current fan base, which, if you follow the news as of December 14th, 2023, I guess is dwindling. I don't know. But this DC20 here, he's like everything that people would complain about 5th edition. He's got a system in place. He's tweaking it. Here's his Kickstarter. Highly recommend, if you do Kickstarter, that you check out the launch. And if you know nothing about it, at least when it launches, you can educate yourself on it. In the meantime, if you want to learn more about it, he's got a great website. Now, I'm probably a little biased here. I'm probably a little jealous. He's a former teacher. I'm a current teacher. And he left the profession, became a professional YouTuber, and things snowballed into the OGL crisis or debacle. And he said, "Oh, you know what? All right, let's pounce on it. Here's my time. People are moving away from D&D, and so he's coming up with his own system. And basically, he's living the life I want to live. And he's a handsome fella. Let's see if I can find a picture. Let's go to YouTube. The Dungeon Coach. Look at this guy. Look at this handsome fella. All right. And if you took the time to watch these DC20 alpha streams, let's see. So this was, a day ago. Okay. So Q&A, he's been doing these and like literally walking people through his game. Now, I'm going to talk Matt Colville here for a little bit and his role-playing game he's coming out with. These guys are like almost opposite ends of the spectrum here. Dungeon Coach DC20 is like super open. Here's my process. Here's what I'm thinking. He's got a Patreon. You can go in and you can be part of the play test. He's had multiple play tests. MCDM, which I talked about, Flea Mortals, and all of the I want to say Layer Magazine, but that's something else. All of the magazines that Arcadia. All of the Arcadias, it's all great, but it's like a different level. It's more professional, more polished, more guarded. And I'll pull this up here too. They just came out with their Kickstarter. They've been doing some Q&As on it, but let's see if I can get to the Kickstarter. Back our campaign. Here we go. On Backer Kit, which I don't quite know the difference between that and Kickstarter. I know a lot of Kickstarters, after the Kickstarter is done, they transfer over to Backer Kit. I don't really know, but they just crossed over the $3 million mark. Totally has to do with Matt and his marketing of MCDM, the fan base he's already got, and the level of professionalism, I'll say. I'll give him the great kudos, great credit for that. Now, I did initially back it. Let's check it out. So, I backed the Physical Heroes hardcover $70, which I thought, that's without shipping. Shipping's probably going to be another $20. Is this game worth $90, assuming shipping's $20? Is it worth $90 to me when my small play group I can almost guarantee this will never come to my table? $90, be a part of MCDM. I know it's going to be high quality. The art's probably going to be amazing. So I was hemming and hawing, but I backed it. And I was watching one of his streams, and I'm not getting political or whatever. It just was it's more about the game system, but somebody in the chat of his live stream was saying, well, hang on, let me back it up. So Matt's got a really good video. It's probably, I know I've mentioned it before, it's probably my favorite. So there's running the game and then designing the game series, and it's about the dice, talking about the dice system for the game. And he says that they ended up settling on 2d6. Now, comparing it to Dungeons and Dragons, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more things, but this is in as few words as possible. This is MCDM's role-playing game. It's D&D with 2d6 and half the levels. That's like as simple as I can put it. It's roll 2d6, add a modifier, reach a DC. Okay? And in the live stream, they said that it's half the levels, and the goal of the game is how D&D is trending. If you were to go back to 0 edition, 1st edition, OSR, where people want these crunchier games, inventory management, dungeon crawling, things like that. They said, look at the evolution of 5th edition, where people are saying that they love the heroic fantasy. I think that's the term they use. And so they said, well, we're the next evolution of heroic fantasy, where, as Matt says, people get to do, quote, dope shit, and they get to do it sooner. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm kind of on board with that. I'm not super into the heroic fantasy of my players being superheroes with their powers. I'm also not super big in the OSR, where it's super crunchy or simplified and basic. I kind of like the realm of, I'm probably, me personally, I'm in between like OSR and 5th edition. That's where I fall. So this is on the other end of the spectrum, being more heroic, which, okay, so that wasn't my cup of tea, weighing that, blah, blah, blah. But then in the chat, somebody says some aspect of the game, he's like, oh, so it's basically D&D ask for this one aspect of the game. And then Matt says, if I were a moderator right now, I'd ban you for that comment. Just straight up says, I would ban you for that comment. I was like, whoa. Like, whoever said that is probably trying to ask and get context of the game. And maybe he's right. And you just... it just rubbed me the wrong way. And so that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I was like, okay, $90 for a game. Never going to bring to my table. That's not quite in my genre wheelhouse. Sorry. So I backed out of it. I didn't think it was worth it. So there's a Heroes book and Monsters book, which I love the names. It's, there's no Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, Heroes, Monsters. Simple, love it. And I think they said that the Monster book was basically going to be Flea Mortals minus like layers or something, tuned to their 2d6 system. So I'm like, well, I already own Flea Mortals. Is there going to be a conversion somehow? I imagine there will be. I'm not sure. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll get the PDF of these, and then we're at $65 flat, no shipping. Or just a PDF of the Heroes, that was $40. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see when it comes out. It's not going to be for like another year or so. So we'll see when the dust settles. Maybe I'll check this all out, but I praise Matt Colville. I'm sure he's a great DM. I do know politically he leans left, which, whatever. Don't care about your politics. But this year may not be for me, which Matt Colville did say, this isn't for you. If you think, this heroic fantasy is not for you, it's not the game for you. Which, great. But again, I would ban you for that comment because you thought it was like D&D. Which, okay, all right. Off my soapbox. Back to Dungeon Coach. One of the nicest people on planet Earth. Probably because he's a former teacher. Check out his website, thedungeoncoach.com. He has an alpha version of it, which you can purchase for $14.99. Heaven forbid it round up to $15. And you can read the screen here, but it basically is 4 PDFs. It's totally alpha. He even says, like, it's not the beta, and beta will be something you get when you back the Kickstarter. This does not include the beta. That will be the full game and is part of the Kickstarter. All right, just want to get that right, I guess. 100 pages of core rules, fillable character sheets, one-shot adventure, and a monster creation guide. So $15 for me, not worth checking out. It is a D&D-esque system. Roll a D20, add a modifier, meet a target number, so that doesn't quite scratch my itch. But let me go to... all right, I was going to go to DM's Guild, but I don't have to. If I go to PDFs, I don't know how many are on here, but go check these out. This one's a really popular one. All Cander's Almanac of All Things. I don't own this one. I think it is his most expensive one, but let's read it. Is a full expansion to the 3 pillars of 5th edition, but these rules are modular and full of examples on how you can use them at your table and tweak them to best fit your group. Totally a great thing I love about the Dungeon Coach is he has rules and then variant rules, optional rules. He's like, here's the 5th edition rule. Here's why I don't like it. Here's how I run it. If that doesn't quite gel with you, try this. So here are things that it covers. Movement rules, help actions, custom character options, fall damage, potion systems, new attunement rules, new leveling systems. Inspiration, how do you earn it? How many can you have? What can you do with it? My personal, quote, DC method. Now, in my campaign that I'm in right now, I'm a player, and we just had this conversation. How many points of inspiration do you get? I looked in the player's manual, looked up inspiration in the index, not there. Maybe it's in the DM's Guild, but I'm just a player right now, so I'm not going through there. So if I'm playing, and I have questions, and I've been playing for a while, and I understand, or at least I think I understand the system. Other people are having problems too. Skill challenges, social encounters, exploration, like they said, the 3 pillars, it's all in here. Combat, new initiative, blah blah blah. I'm ranting. I do that when I get excited. I know. It's my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of this Alkander's Almanac is rolling into his DC 20 system. But if you go through here, tons and tons of PDFs. One of my favorite that I purchased is Rest Revisited, and I've got it all printed out here. You can't see it, but what do I have here? Homebrew Combat, and is this? I don't know if you can hear this. Sorry. Is this the Dungeon Coach? No, it's not. Okay, never mind. Ignore everything I just said. But totally check out Dungeon Coach. Totally worth your time. All right. What else do I want to talk about? MCDM, Dungeon Coach. What do I got my tabs up here? Oh yeah, okay. This is a slight step forward to our deep dive on crafting and monster looting. Okay, here's another person to check out, Anne Gregerson. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. I would say like relatively small, but super impactful content creator here. Monster loot, we're going to really get into this one. But she's got other resources. Bloodied and Bruised. I don't own that. Shame on me. There's 2 volumes. What? I need to research more on that. Let's see. What are her other... Let me click this one because I think I can find it here. Okay. So here's her resources. And we're going to go over this one. Monster Loot for the Monster Manual. Literally breaks down every single monster in the Monster Manual. Hang on, sneeze coming. Unprofessional. Probably won't edit it out. And then they've got another book, Volo's Guide to Monsters. Okay, a whole book, whole PDF here of monsters and loot for the monsters in Volo's Guide to Monsters. Same for Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Then it even breaks down into, oh, you bought Dragonlance? Okay, for every monster in there, here's how you loot them. River of the Frost Maiden, everything in there. Here's all the loot for those. Let's see, a little further down. Here we go. They've got Surviving the Apocalypse, custom crafting system designed for 5th edition. I don't own that. Shame on me. Maybe I'll buy it right now. $9.95. Craft legendary weapon and armor. Shame on me for not having Gesh's Guide to Making Things. That's great. Also, if I go back, they've got a bundle for all of these. Check out the bundle here for 50% off all released monster loot titles. That's great. $50. I'm going to tell you it's worth your $50. If you are running a long-term campaign, it's worth it. All right. Anne Gregerson's Bloodied and Bruised Monster Manual. New combat actions for the creatures in the Monster Manual. Let's go. Bloodied and Bruised is a series providing new combat actions for the creatures in the 5e roster. When pushed to their limits in combat, these monsters, critters, fiends, and foes gain new abilities that aid them in battle, or perhaps spell their doom depending on the circumstances. Bloodied and Bruised takes inspiration from the Bloodied condition from 4th edition, making entirely new combat actions that can completely change the nature of a fight. In addition, Bloodied and Bruised also introduces several, quote, death throws to the game, marking the demise of certain creatures with a grand explosion, heavy fall, or other unique effect to make the slaying of a great monster a truly unique experience. Oh, another great thing. She includes examples of everything from her books. So if I go to, let's see, Don't Prove Me Wrong. Okay, this is the bulk one. Let's go regular. Yeah, right here. Okay. Creators, please do this. Yes, you are giving up ounces, or what's this? Stop. I'm trying to think, like, spending dollars trying to save pennies. There's some phrase like that. Give a little bit away. Give a little taste away. And this is going to... the people that are on the fence, they're really going to hook them in. So here we go. Like I said, a half step into the main topic right here. Monster loot. Examples of loot. 1d2 basilisk eyes. Sweet. I have these basilisk eyes. What can I do? When consumed, you must succeed on a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or become petrified as you are turned to stone. You remain petrified until freed by the Greater Restoration spell or similar magic. It can also be used as an additional material component when casting the spell Flesh to Stone. When used in this way, the target of the spell has disadvantage on their saving throw against the spell's effect. Is that really a spell? Flesh to Stone. Let's see. 5e. Flesh to Stone. Oh, my dog's wanting to play. 6th level. Here we go. Components. A pinch of lime. Components. A pinch of lime, water, and earth. So let me go back and read it. Did it say when added? It can also be used as an additional material component. Heck yeah. Put a little more components in there and you get added benefit. All about it. Next one is 1 vial of basilisk gullet oil. If poured on a medium or smaller creature that has been petrified by being turned to stone, they are cured of the petrified condition. So, pretty sweet. In your party, one player takes the eye, they try to do something with it, they get turned to stone. Well, that's okay. You kill the basilisk, you also get this cure for it. So, great. Green Hag, 1d2 Green Hag Hands, requires attunement, can be used as an arcane focus. You know the dancing lights and minor illusion cantrips, but only when you are holding onto the hand. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for these cantrips. 1 Green Hag Tongue. When consumed, you can mimic animal sounds and humanoid voices for 1 hour. A creature that hears the sounds can tell they are imitations with a successful DC 14 check. And then finally 1d4 vials of green hag blood. Can be used as an additional material component when casting spells that turn something invisible. When used in this way, the duration of the invisibility increases by 1 minute. Freaking awesome. Now, I am not the best DM in my campaign that I ran. Total missed opportunity for my players using crafting like this, or looting. One of my players was a ranger. Rangers, I think, notoriously are the weakest class. And I can't think of a time where his preferred terrain was relevant. And I wish either somehow integrated preferred terrain, or at least when they were traveling, if he was, the main hunter of food and you get added benefits if you shoot a bear for food, whatever. I said it before in another episode. and a theme dictate the play style. If, like in original D&D, if you level up, if 1 gold equals 1 experience point, then your players only care about getting gold. If you only level up with monster battles, then your players really only care about fighting creatures to level up. So if you put a rule in that says, hey, you get added benefits, you get added bonuses if you loot monsters, you go out of your way to attack monsters, then they're going to do that. And circling back to my ranger point, I think rangers should get advantage on this ability. They should get some sort of benefit. They have maybe like favorite animal type. Maybe it's mammals. Maybe it's, I don't even know all the different types of creatures in the monster manual. Like, what's a mind flayer? I don't know. But maybe they get advantage on those checks. So, going on a rant. But okay, let's actually dive into this one. I want to loot the Beholder. Monster Loot, Volume 1. Oh, that's not it. Uh-oh. What did I do? Here we go. All right. Monster Loot from the Monster Manual. Okay, here we go. Here's Other Things by Anne Gregerson. Big and Scary Monsters. Tavern Games. I think there are 10. If you read this description, oh, look, they're linked. Let's click on it. Yes, allow. 10 mini games you can play at the table using just your dice. And guess what? She gives an example. Mountains, a card game. This game of cards had its origin in heavily mountainous regions, but it has spread to be popular among many different peoples and societies. Did you know that your mini games can have a history to them? You're welcome. Well, thank you, Anne, but you're welcome, listeners, for me showing you this. Number of players, minimum of 1. Against the house, betting. This game is most often played against the house, but can also be played in groups. The house has set a minimum buy-in, which varies depending on the establishment. Okay. Before any cards are drawn, the players must pay the buy-in. After the buy-in has been paid, the house rolls 2d8 and shows the result to players. The players can now bet money up to a maximum of triple the buy-in. After betting, they draw 1 card, represented by rolling 1d8. If the number on their die falls between the 2 numbers rolled by the house, the player gets the double of their total bet, including the initial buy-in. If they fail, or the house rolled dice are the same or has no numbers between them, such as 4 and 5, the player loses. Okay, so they got to ante up first. If the house rolls 2 numbers next to each other, players can't win. House gets the ante. Right? Cool. Super cool. Okay, back to Monster Loot. So I've already given examples. There's not much more to dive in here, but we'll go into how to use this book. But just showing you how this is laid out, every monster in the Monster Manual is in here. At least I believe so. I haven't counted every single one. Sorted alphabetically. Let's go to zombies. Section Z. Zombie. 1 zombie hand can be used as an arcane focus. Well, you know what? I showed you one cool, and now I'm disappointing. That one is lame. Disappointing. Sorry, Anne. That's your maybe one piece of criticism. Let's pick a different monster. Maybe because their CR is so low. Let's go to a goblin. All right. Goblin. Deep. Sfernflbelin. I don't know what that is. Oh, wait, that was a gnome. Oopsies. Goblin. Okay, a regular goblin. 2d6 arrows, 1 broken leather armor, size small, 1 broken scimitar, 1 broken shield, 1 broken shortbow, 1d8 goblin teeth. Can be sold for 1 gold piece per tooth. Not sure if I mentioned this in another one, but totally do this at your table with these items that they're looting. Maybe they don't have room to carry them. That's a bum. But they should be able to take these items. Okay, a broken scimitar, broken shield, broken shortbow. Those aren't going to get you a lot of cash. But gold tooth? Sure. Leather armor? Well, I guess it's broken here too. Oop, my dog. Your players can take them and sell them. And that's how they get gold. And for me, that's like a regular video game, like a video game RPG. They sell the loot that way, and that's how they get money. So I'm fine with gamifying your game. You're with Final Fantasying your game, with Dragon Questing your game, right? Take the things that you get from these monsters and sell them for cash. It doesn't have to be, rewards, wanted posters, or questing. Just take the stuff that you have. Like, the people in the town, they're going to be thankful that you went out and you got all these things, so they didn't have to go put their lives in danger. Okay. Let's go to how to use this. Check this out. Now, this one is my favorite, but we're going to go over other things, crafting as well. All right. How to use this book. This work is half the reward, but what if you want the whole reward? After braving the dangers of an acid-spewing dragon or the petrifying gaze of a snake-headed Medusa, it is only reasonable that your adventurers who survived the monster's onslaught might claim some sort of prize from it. This document supplies a list of items and loot that traveling adventurers might find on the monsters they encounter and slay on their fantastical journeys. Okay. Killing humanoid enemies. Many humanoid enemies exist within the worlds of Dungeons and Dragons. Some of the more popular include goblins and orcs whose wicked ways have set brave adventurers on the path to becoming legends of the realm. When killing a humanoid enemy, the characters are entitled to any loot they may carry on their person. Weapons, armor, and other sparse items have been listed below. Is it has with every other monster. However, harvesting body parts such as hide and flesh from these creatures is not something this document explores. Very rarely will an adventurer be able to harvest useful organs from a creature that has been marked as humanoid. I get it. Like, that's kind of gross, right? Like, if you find a snake and you get its venom from its fangs, that's cool. If you say, I need the goblin's liver, it's a little gross. My table, I don't think I would care. Yeah, sure. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with the liver? You're gonna, my dog and the squeaker. She's more important than anything. So, yes, I will play with her while I record. Sure, maybe you want to make liver stew. Great, go for it. She is. I wish you could see her. She knows what she's doing. Okay, how does this work? Am I going to spoil this? And if I go over the process of this, I'm not sure. But I guess I will. I don't know. An ability check. All right, how this works. When a character attempts to harvest a creature, they must first succeed on a specific ability check to successfully harvest the components of it. The nature of the ability check depends on the type of creature the monster is. The following table should be seen as for splitting up the checks and can be changed to better fit the nature of the game at hand. So, beast, dragon, giant, monstrosity, plant. nature check. Humanoid, survival check. That one, maybe. Celestial, fiend, undead, religion, I'm okay with that. Aberration, construct, elemental, fey, ooze, arcana check, I'm okay with that. The DC check is determined by the CR of the creature being harvested, but the harvesting check DC cannot be lower than 10 and cannot be higher than 30. If a character succeeds on the ability check, they are able to harvest all available loot on the monster. If they fail the check, the character is only able to harvest half of the items. If the character fails the check by 5 or more, a mishap will happen during the harvesting process. This could be anything from piercing a gland of acid to an environmental accident such as a rock slide covering the creature. Regardless of the nature of the mishap, all loot is lost if one occurs. So freaking cool. It's not just a free gimme. 1, you slayed the monster. That was a lot of work. 2, now you got to put the work in to get this out. It's not just, oh, it's dead, we get it. Let's see, did they talk about time? Here we go, sure. How big the monster is, how long it takes to harvest. Time of death. If your creature's rotting away, you're going to have a problem. Types of loot. Let's see. Some creatures are able to use armor and weapons, but they don't always take the best care of them. If an item as the broken descriptor, I think that's a typo, I should say, has the broken descriptor, this means that the item was damaged either prior to fighting or during the fight where the creature died. A broken item does not function until it has been repaired by an artisan or by a creature with proficiency in the required set of tools. To repair the item, the characters must pay half of the cost of the item. For instance, a broken glaive with an initial cost of 20 GP would cost 10 GP to repair. So, going back to those goblin parts that were all broken, you can sell them at half the price. My brain instantly goes to Dragon Warrior 1. You can sell your old gear for half of what you paid for it. You found nicer armor, sell your old armor for half the cost. Freaking sweet. What else do we have in here? Rations, components, what you could all use these for. Ammunition, you could have like acid-tipped arrow blades. Yeah. Freaking brilliant. In a couple episodes, I've mentioned that I'm building my own basically like Dungeon Master's Guide. This is like section number 1. If they're coming out with a new edition of D&D 6th edition, like, make this a part of it. Increase the page count. I don't care. These need to be core rules of the game. And I go back to, like, Rangers should have proficiency. They pick a monster type. Like, the DC was, what was it? 10 plus the DC of the creature. Like, maybe it's DC 10 plus the CR, not DC of the creature, CR of the creature minus the ranger's proficiency, something like that. Great system. Check out all of these monster loot, monster manuals. Freaking amazing. Okay. Next one. Let's see. What do I got here? What is this one? Item crafting. All right. I've got a PDF here of this. This actually is my first page of my personal GM binder here. All right. It's been a while since I've looked at this. It works basically the same as the monster looting, but rather than monster parts, it's other items that you can use to craft and to make new items. So, all right, let's see. What to craft? What is better for making a quarterstaff, carpenter's tools, or woodcarver's tools? Ultimately, the decision lies with the DM. but the following is a set of guidelines for what each set of tools can be used to do. And the table below indicates the relevant ability score to use in crafting checks. Okay, we've got alchemist's supplies, brewer's supplies, calligraphers. Wow, I am just mind farting so hard right now. Carpenter's tools, cartographer's tools, cobbler's tools. Maybe I am not that smart, which check, not. But I don't see like tool set proficiencies coming into play a lot, which, again, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't have the most experience. I haven't played for decades at all these different tables, but using these tools, using the skills here, when you're trying to do something, I think really shapes a character's purpose in the group. Okay, so then they break down what all these tools do. Cooks can prepare and preserve fine meals, cheese, bread, meat, or entire banquets. Glassblowers tools. The most common use for glassblowers provide vials and flasks, etc., etc. Okay. What do I want to focus on next? Crafting time. Okay, just like loot time. Well, let me back it up. Sorry. They just like jump right into it. All right, you need a tool set. All right, once you have a tool set, then we go to cost. Properties. The following properties of the crafting process should be determined by the players and DMs before or during the crafting process, as these will affect the time and cost to produce an item, as well as how much the item might be worth if the players then decide to sell it. So, base cost. The first thing to assess when crafting a new item is the base cost for a simple standard version of the item. Examples of that base cost come from the player's handbook. This base cost assumes a standard quality item made of common materials with no special enhancements involved. The following table: light armor, 20 gold. Medium armor, 250 gold. Heavy armor, 450 gold. Okay? If I'm making a sword, what does just a normal sword cost? Right? Material. After determining a base cost for the item, the next step is to consider what materials it will be made out of. There are countless different materials that can be used for any number of projects, but overall they can be split into 5 distinct categories: common materials, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary. If you're a D&D fan, you understand that verbiage for magic items. So, common. Common materials are readily available materials that are essential to a functioning society. Copper, iron, oak, cowhide, and granite are examples of such easy to find and relatively cheap materials. The base price assumes common materials, resulting in no modification to the value or time to craft an item. Okay, you want to make a sword, you found some, exactly what they say there, iron, right? Was it iron and tin make steel, or iron and copper make steel? I don't know. But base metals, sure, make a sword. Okay, nothing special. Let's go to very rare. Very rare materials cannot be found for sale. Those that have time guard their treasures carefully. Quests for such materials often require experienced adventurers capable of spending. Examples include legendary gemstones like the Star Ruby, Royal Mithril, or Dragonhide. Okay, so that's an example of very rare. We have a modifier here to craft an item with very rare materials. Every day costs 200 gold, right? So I think a common item would take 1 day to craft. Let me see if I can find that actually. Okay, no, crafting time comes from down here. So, oh man, we're getting into a whole system I forgot about. Base cost divided by work rate times time modifier. Holy baloney. The last step before beginning the crafting itself is to determine the work rate and the crafting time. The work rate is also the crafting modifier and is given by proficiency bonus plus relevant modifier plus crafting bonus. This number will be the modifier used in crafting checks and is the rate in gold per day that you are able to make progress on items. To determine the crafting time, you take the base cost divided by the work rate and multiply the time modifier from that material. I'm not going to lie, I'm reading this, but my brain is not understanding it. But if I were to sit down and with actual examples here, like here, if I were to read this, oh yeah, sure, I'd figure it out. No, I wouldn't. Yes, I would. But the gist here is they have the system in place. If you have the time and the materials, you can make a value for it. You can craft your own basic items. You can craft your own legendary items. It's going to take more time. It's going to take more money, but you can do it. Super cool. This is only 6 pages. There are examples here. You know what? Let me read. Oh, no, I'm not reading that one. Okay, here we go. Aaron the blacksmith. Let's read this one. Aaron must spend 10 days working on his dwarven steel great axe. At the end of each day, he makes a crafting check with a +6 modifier, since he is using his +1 smithing tools. Using this modifier, he rolls the following: 10, 19, 15, 15, 24, 19, 17, 20, 13, 21. This averages to 17.3, making it superior quality. This increases the value of the great axe to 75, which is standard value times 1.2. Holy baloney. At the end of the day, oh yeah, it's right here. I'll read this one too, I guess. Aaron the blacksmith. Aaron is a retired adventurer that has decided to become a blacksmith using a set of +1 smithy tools he found as an adventurer. He was a fairly strong, 16 strength, 3rd level fighter when he retired and has since gained proficiency with blacksmithing tools. Aaron's work rate is +2 proficiency, +3 strength mod, +1 tools is 6 gold per day. There we go. Now we figured it out. He's a 3rd level fighter, +2 proficiency, plus his strength bonus, plus the tools that he has. Great. Figured it out. Aaron has heard of a barbarian adventurer soon to be arriving in town and wants to try and make a great axe out of dwarven steel to sell to the individual. With a base price of 30 gold from the player's handbook, it will take Aaron 30 gold, 6 gold per day, 30 gold divided by 6 gold per day divided by day times 2 to use uncommon materials equals 10 days to craft the great axe. Well, let me figure that out. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay. What does it cost in the player's handbook divided by his skill? So let's say he was even more skilled and he had a rate of not 6 gold per day, but 10 gold per day. So that would mean if the base price was 30 gold divided by 10 would be 3. 3 times 2 would be 6 days to craft the great axe. Got it. My brain locked it in. Crafting the great axe will cost Aaron 10 days times 5 gold per day. Okay, why 5 gold? I thought it was 6 gold. Crafting the great axe will cost Aaron 10 days times 5 gold per day because of uncommon materials. All right, let me see if I can find that. Uncommon materials. Okay, that comes from here. 5 gold per day. Uncommon materials. Which I didn't read. Uncommon materials are still available if you have the money. They are more difficult to prepare and generally valued above simple common items, which adds to the time and cost to craft the uncommon items, but leads to greater value as well. Garnets, dwarven steel, common mithril, silver, iron oak, and marble are all examples of uncommon materials. Okay. Back to what I was reading. Okay, takes 10 days, 5 gold based on uncommon materials, 50 gold minimum to craft the weapon. This great axe will have a standard value of 30 gold times 2.5 for uncommon materials, will cost 75 gold. That's what it's worth. Let's go. Let's see. Do they have a modifier 2.5? The value. Yeah, 2.5. All right. We got there. 50 gold minimum to craft the weapon. So if I'm Aaron, it cost me 50 gold. Gold points. GP. But it didn't actually cost Aaron money. It's costing him labor. And we are putting a price on that labor at 5 gold per day. Okay, yeah. Makes sense to me. So, this is great. Alright, it's 6 pages. The first one is all cover. And even though I stumbled and fumbled my way through this, because like I said, it's been a while, this won't have all of your answers, right? Like, if in your campaign you come across coal, right? Thinking like Minecraft, coal. What can you do with coal? I don't know. Maybe you can use it to stain your armor black, so you get an intimidation bonus, right? I imagine coal is is a common item. I don't know. Let's see. Minecraft. I find... Oh, there's iron. Iron's in here. Gold. Let's see. Is gold in here? Rare. Okay, here. Rare's gold. So I would say it's got a pretty extensive list. And you can use this list in your campaign. Right? If you stash a chest full of rubies and emeralds, then hey, the player finds these, you already have the system in place, they can start crafting with it. So use this as a jumping off point for loot to leave around. The raw materials are there. Your players can use their creativity to craft it. I mean, crafting and looting, so freaking cool. All right, what else do I have here? Okay, this is something that complete off topic. 248 pages. This was just posted on Drive-Thru RPG. It's called Sake, Sorcerers, Adventurers, Kings, and Economics. And I'm sort of kind of checking this out, but I'm confused. It's got like... It seems like a fantasy game, but it's also like samurai, Asian inspired. I'm not sure, but it's 248 pages of free game. So that's something I'm checking out. Okay. Yeah, I think I have 2 other resources. Let's go here. Here we go. Okay. A website that I need to use more is called the GM Binder. And the reason why I don't quite use this, and let's see if I can prove my point right here. Okay, I'm going to generate the PDF. 109. Okay, I also had this problem at work today, so I'm not quite sure. Let's do print a PDF. The point I was going to make is that the size of this is always jacked up. Like, yeah, look at that. I don't know what this is. More. It's set to letter. Fit page width. Okay, let me go scale. Oh, okay, well, I didn't like that. Pages per sheet, 1. Margins, format, original. I just don't know. Okay, perfect. Okay, even better. I don't understand the layout on this. So this is why I don't use it, because when I get a PDF, it never turns out right. So I don't know. I'm going to just leave it at that. Okay, but looking at the link up here, and maybe hopefully I'll link these in the podcast description. We've got Creature Loot Monster Manual Edition, a set of mechanics developed at Medieval Melodies by John Gazda. All right, monsters listed alphabetically. Let's go to the Basilisk. Let's see, B. And we'll use this as a completely different focus compared to the Monster Loot Volume 1 by Anne Gregerson. So here we have Basilisk Eyes, which can turn somebody to stone, and a vial of Basilisk Gullet Oil, which can unturn them into stone. All right, Basilisk Eye. When held, a creature can use the eye to cast flesh to stone. This consumes the eye. Before, you had to use it as a material component. Here it is the that doesn't make sense. Is the component. Here it is a spell. It's a free spell that you get. All right. A Basilisk Fang acts as a dagger. Can be crafted using smith's tools into a dagger that deals an additional 3 or 1d6 poison damage on a hit. Freaking amazing. In the last campaign that I played in, what was it? I killed a Manticore, and I took something from the Manticore. Might have been his fangs or something. Shame on me for not remembering. And I used it for something, and it was really rewarding to me because I slayed the beast. I slayed the monster, and I was able to use them to advance my character. So, super cool. A Basilisk Stomach. No immediate use. Can be master crafted using alchemist supplies into a stone cell, which ends the petrified condition on a creature it is applied to. So that is very much like Monster Loot Volume 1. And something to note here is that these all have a number here. And when I just quickly glanced at it, I thought that number represented how many different items you can get. And that's kind of true. So let me do this one. A Bayer? I don't know what that is. Let's see. 4 plus 2 is 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so that must be the maximum number of items you can get. A Beholder has 13 items. 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. Plus 4 is 10. Plus 3 is 13. That is what it means. Okay, and let's look up the system here for how this works. Alright, basic rules. If a creature dies naturally or its body was found hours or days after death, it is up to the DM what items remain. Some items may have been already stolen, not remain on the creature after death, or have rotted beyond use. If the players were fighting the creature and killed it in combat, they must make the appropriate check in order to claim the loot. So very much like Monster Loot Volume 1, Beast, Dragon, Monstrosity Plant, Nature check. Giant Humanoid, Survival check. Celestial Fey Undead, Religion check. Aberration Construct Elemental Ooze, Arcana check. I think the only thing different there is a Giant is put on a Survival check, which a Giant is a humanoid creature. Okay? This represents the type of knowledge required to successfully identify the valuable loot on the body. Loot claim check. So here it's broken down by the CR, and very much so like Monster Loot. If you, let's see, less than 5 DC. Okay, if the creature, okay, here we go. I got it. If the creature's CR is less than 5, then you have to roll using one of these checks, nature, survival, religion, arcana. If you roll must be over 5, then you get half the items. If it's over 10, you get all of the items. Yep. And then if it's a high-powered creature, their CR is greater than 16. Yeah, you got to roll over a 20 to get half the items, or over 25 to get half. Or to get all of the items, excuse me. So, similar, but different items than the Monster Loot Volume 1. And this is just for the Monster Manual Edition. Maybe, let's see, because I don't use the GM binder much. I guess if you were to search John Gazda GM binder on Google, you'd come up with more of his stuff. Again, I don't use this enough. I don't quite know how I can just go find more of his stuff. This is an unofficial fan content permitted under blah, blah, blah. Appendix 3 Tinker's Tools. Okay, yeah, I don't know. That's a bummer that I don't know how this website works. But I know the resources I have found on here are cool. I just don't know how the PDF system works. And maybe I can Google search that one day and figure that out. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, last one. Harvesting and crafting system for D&D. This one is also on the GM binder. Oh, look, right here. By Frozen Feet 2. Is that on here? No, it's not. See, I don't understand. How many pages do we have for this one? Not many. So, this is more of a system than I guess maybe not. Okay. This one I have no experience with. So this one I Googled it, and it was right next to this one, the creature loot, on the Google search. So I clicked on it. So here we go. Monster harvesting. When a monster is killed, parts can be harvested for alchemical use. Alchemical? That's a word. A player can make a strength or dexterity check, DM's choice, depending on the type of body part and size of the monster. The DC of the check depends on the difficulty of collecting the desired monster part, as well as the size of the monster as shown on the monster harvesting DC table below. On a roll of a 1, or after 3 failed attempts, the harvested part is damaged beyond repair. When a creature leaves behind general remains such as smoke, ectoplasm, or ichor, no check is required to collect the parts, but they dissipate or degrade after 1 minute. Interesting. Just imagine mid-combat, you kill a creature and you can use its ability instantly. Some acid creature dies, and you can use your sword to fling up acid to another monster. That's cool. That's more dynamic combat. The monster parts table lists the monsters from the monster manual that have useful parts to harvest. A suggested monster part is given for each monster, as well as the associated crafting tags. So here we go. Appendages: skull, claws, tentacles, and then the DC based on the size of the creature. Medium part: mandibles, scales, horns. And hard: organs, heart, eyes, gland, the innards. That makes sense. Storing harvested parts. Monster parts can be stored in a preserved state, such as by use of a jar of preservation, which may be available for purchase from an alchemist or enchanter. So they give you the item here. That's pretty cool. Cool art here too, with this little jar here. Monster parts. We've got Aarakocra, feathers, crafting tag, air. So, can I learn more about crafting tags? Potion crafting. Monster components. That's cool. So here's item, monster components, other components. elixir of health, oil of etherealness, oil of sharpness, potion of clairvoyance. I don't know. Well, potion of healing, definitely. Greater healing. So these must be standard D&D items, which would probably be found in the DM's guild or DM's handbook. Selling harvested parts. CR of the creature determines the value. Okay, simple enough, I guess. So I guess it's a fail here. It doesn't necessarily like help you specifically with an item. So like Aarakocra, you get their feathers, and somehow it just helps with things in the air. Things can float, feather falling, something like that. Let's go to a zombie, my go-to standard. What do you get from a zombie? You get a brain and something unholy. So if I can find crafting tags quickly, see if I can search. Tag found 12 times. Monster parts have been given one or more crafting tags to denote the essence that the monster part contributes to the alchemical crafting process. These represent a variety of innate, arcane, elemental, and physical characteristics of these monsters. These crafting tags are then used in alchemical crafting tables to show which type of monsters need to be sought to create a particular potion or poison. Oh, okay. Okay, so these tie in together. So these are the monsters. You kill an Aarakocra, and you get something with air, which you can then use in a potion here that needs air. Okay, so it's kind of a closed loop system. I don't know if that makes any sense, but in my brain it does. Where you can use... Okay, yeah. You can use the things that you get after a loot check to then make these potions and poisons. Okay, so this one I would rename D&D harvesting and crafting system for potions. What do they have here? For potions and poisons. Right? That should be the name of this one. All right, still cool. Probably my least favorite of the ones we've gone over. But you need to do this. Add this to your game. It doesn't have to be D&D. Whatever system you're playing, add a loot system. Add a crafting system. The rules of your game determine your gameplay. Your players will love to travel. They will go out of their way to hunt for food. They will explore areas of the game, go down rooms, go down paths, turn over rocks, enter mushroom fields, skin bark off a tree, if they know that there's some value to it. How are we doing on time? I'm out of content. We're at just over an hour. That's absolutely perfect. Check these out. Check these systems out. Go give Ann Gregerson your money. Just do it. Worth it. Go buy that bundle pack, $50. Get all the stuff. Buy your tavern games. Check out DC20 if you're into the D&D type system. Roll D20, meet a target number, add attribute, blah blah blah. Check it out. Check out his YouTube channel. Stuff's popping off. How many videos does he have? 407. Great stuff on here. Great stuff. This is kind of the whole crew that he has been playtesting with. And if you like these other content creators, you'll like Dungeon Coach. So, going off on a tangent, ranting as I do. Thanks for checking out another episode of Roll Around Find Out. See you in the next episode. Later.